Good morning, everyone. This is Donnie with Standing Goats Rescue. Today is Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m. I got to head up to the property. I got to try to find some cameras that are missing, some of my trail cameras. Yesterday I went, excuse me, I went over to our hunting lease. Pardon me. I went over to the hunting lease yesterday, and we had 3 or 3.5 inches of rain the day before yesterday, and it poured again yesterday. So I went back to grab to check the cameras that's up there. There's only 2 cameras there, and I got back to where I've got the Woe Sports camera was mounted on this game camera by our monopod. At the bottom of it, it's got a long auger, 1 inch thick. It's like a Teflon plastic, and it's got real heavy threads on it, and then it's got a steel core. You stick it in the ground, and you just twist it, and you screw it in. It screws through the that matte layer of roots, that mesh. It'll screw through it. You screw it until it won't go down no more. And you just put your camera on the top. It's got a 1/4-20 mount, and you can also put a GoPro mount on it. Well, I had the Woe Sports camera was on it, so I went to check this one and the other camera that's there. And as I got close, I didn't see the camera or that mount. And I got up on it, and it was somebody pulled it out of the ground, and it was laid down. The camera was laid down, face down in the mud. The reason I took it out, if you look at the lens, it's got moisture in it. That's the top circle. Still got a little bit of mud on it. I cleaned most of it off, but I just took it out of my backpack. I forgot about it. I gotta try to get that moisture out of the inside of the camera. But that auger, to pull that thing up out of the ground, it takes a lot of force to pull that up. It really holds. Normally you can unscrew it about half of the way. If you get it unscrewed about that far, about 3 inches, you can work it back and forth, and you can eventually pull it out of the ground. Something pulled it completely out of the ground. It had roots wrapped all around the auger bit and had a clump of mud on it where it was pulled straight up. And when I screwed that thing in, anytime I set it, I'll screw it down and I'll pull up on it to make sure it's set, just in case a bear comes along. He doesn't just knock it over and drag my camera away. And that one, when I screwed it in, it was locked to the ground. There was no pulling it up, but something did. And when I come up on it, when I figured out that it wasn't stolen, it was still there. It was just pulled out of the ground and laid down, and the camera was in a puddle. And so I'm going to try to dry it out. I hope it still works. That is my Woe Sports camera, and I absolutely love that camera. And for those of you that are new here, I did a review on the Woe Sports camera last year, around November, I think, of last year. And I think this one was the NV400, I think. I have to check it, but that camera's been amazing. A bear played with it for a week and a half every day. It tore it off the tree, broke the buckle on the strap, chewed on it. It was a mama and a cub bear, and they worked that camera over. And I had just hours and hours of 20-second or 30-second video clips of them chewing on it and throwing it and rolling it, and they had a field day with the camera. They broke the strap for it. They broke the buckle where it buckles to the tree, but the camera itself, there's nothing wrong with it. The housing's got a few scratches on it, minor stuff. The other cameras that I've had that bears have got a hold of, they destroyed them. I mean, there'd be claw marks in them, deep teeth marks. They'd have cracks all in them. This one didn't have anything wrong with it. other than the strap being broke. But anyhow, it is what it is. I'm headed to the property right now. I'm taking the I come up Highway 77. I'm going to it this way is because it's easier to come in from Fountain to get to it off 231 just north of Fountain. But I'm coming this back way because I believe I can get to it and not get on as much dirt until a particular point. Then I have no choice. But I think this way be easier because somebody bought some lots in there and they cleared the one path that I thought last year I come down. I thought I could get out from that direction, and Google Maps shows a two-trail, a dirt road going all the way through to the pavement, and I took it way back in there, and I get to the end and it just dead ends into the brush, and the map shows it continuing, but it definitely did not continue, and I had to turn around and backtrack. But I went back a while back. We was just riding around and somebody bought some lots in there and they opened it up, and I think they opened it all the way through that road, so that's where I'm going now. I got some trail cameras that I've put out. I think they're at the property. I have no idea. I got a general I think I might know where one of them is. The general area, I've just got to go and search and see if I can't find the camera, because I'm missing 4 cameras, but I think 2 or 3 of them are up here, and I'm going to see if I can't find them, at least find one of them. And I'm going to be sharing a couple of stories with you, and these are missing people that went to the woods in a strange missing circumstances. But anyhow, guys, we'll be there in a little while. I've got probably 20 minutes, I'm guessing. Matter of fact, I've got to check my map. I'm not sure. I did not know there's an intersection here. Let me check my map. We'll be at the property in a little bit. I had to do some backtracking. I took a wrong turn. But guys, I pulled my phone up to check the map. I pulled it up and I see something walk around the top edge of the phone, and I flipped it over and looked, and it was a tick. I ain't even been in the woods today, so he was in my truck somewhere. I hate them damn things. Ticks and spiders and hornets. I hate them. They serve a purpose, but I don't like to be part of their purpose. Their food source or their target or whatever you want to call it. But anyhow, we'll be there in a little while. Now I'm imagining I got ticks all over me. Hang loose. We'll be there in a second. Alright folks, made it up to the property. I got a camera right here, right on this tree beside me. I'm going to check the memory card on it right quick. That one, the battery's probably getting low. I've been on the same battery since hunting season started, which was October of last year. As soon as I pulled up, I heard what sounded like a pig, a wild pig. When a pack of them, a sounder, is together, the boars are bad about biting the other pigs. And when they grab one of them, they bite him hard. He'll it's not really a squeal, it's almost like a squeal and a roar. It's kind of a roar, it's real loud. And as soon as I backed up and shut the truck off, I heard it right in here. So I don't know, we may have pigs here. I do got a pig track right here. It's coming out of this stuff and it's crossing right here behind the truck. I'm just going to let this record while I'm checking that camera just in case pigs come out. That track is from this morning, so these pigs may be in here right now. Battery's dead for sure on this one. This uses a it looks like one of the CR123 batteries. It's a short little fat battery, and they go in this little hole right there in the bottom. You just unscrew that, and it's got I think there's two of them in it. Definitely feels off over here today. It's normally not this bad. Just got a negative feeling here. Guys, what I'm going to attempt to do is go down to Jeff's corner, because I believe there may be a camera back here, this side of the creek directly behind the truck, but I think there's one over there south of Jeff's corner. Trying to open this. There we go. Got some deer on camera. I got one picture that's decent. Okay. That's alright. I'm going to grab my stuff, and the articles are on my phone, or the stories guys today. I got them on my phone. So hopefully I'll be able to read them. I'm going to bring them with us, and we're going to walk around a little bit. I think I'm going to go this way first, because I don't remember where I put that camera. I think I got it back here, but I'll bring my card reader. If it is in there, we'll check it. If we've got critters on camera, then I'll leave it in place. But if we ain't got nothing on camera, then we'll got a bunch of leaves on it. Then I'll go ahead and bring the camera out. Alright guys, I'm gonna head back in here and see if this camera is here. Looking for where those pig tracks went. That's a deer right there. That one's been rained on. That's a deer. I don't know. Some heavy tracks right there. Like he's something's been kind of pushing around right here. All right, we're gonna go back here and see if this camera, I think I remember putting it back here. I'm working on clearing this. My chainsaw battery died on me, and then my chain was wore out, so I had to stop. We've had a lot of rain. I want to see. This water's pouring through here. Coyote track right there, big coyote track. I gotta come in here. I'm gonna remove a lot of this stuff, the dead stuff, and we're gonna open this up. That water floss is cooking right there. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's walk down here. See if I can figure out where I put the camera. If we can find somewhere to set back here, these articles, these missing people articles are, they're just not your normal missing people, is the reason I brought them to share with you. Pretty interesting. I blocked my trail. There's another pine tree pushed over, small one. This is the game trail right here. It does feel off in here today. It feels really off. See all the dead pines right here? The tops have been broke from the hurricane, but they were still alive. This is pine beetles. They'll start killing them. Oh, this is dead too. Shoot. They'll start eating them up, and they just jump tree to tree. Can't begin to tell you how creepy it is in here right now. Okay. I think I put the camera over here. I believe I've got my tree stand, hunting stands on that pine up there. That's our tall one. It's 24 foot. We had to use it because it's on the where the bank drops down for the creek. Up here it doesn't look that high. When you get over to it to climb, it's definitely high. But I think I put it over here. Back here, I believe. I was going to set it here, and I changed my mind when I got up in here. I'm going to look over here anyway, just in case, because I may have put it here. I believe it's past these palmettos. The creek's right here. Right there is the creek. It's got a lot of water in it. And now we are on a game trail. These deer, they travel the edge of the creek. It's crazy as they travel this side of it and that side, both sides. When you get right down here, you get into Jeff's corner. It's like the game trails, they cross the creek. They don't go through Jeff's corner. It's weird. Ow. I'm looking to see if I may have put the camera right here somewhere. I think I put it right out here. And we'll go check in a minute. I'll show you guys. I was going to put it up right here. See, there's a buck rub right here on the tree. These bucks are traveling right down the edge of the creek. There's the creek right here. They're traveling right down the edge of the creek, and they cross it right here. They got rubs all in here. There's one right there. That's a new one. Move this out of the way. Right there, that's a brand new one. He hadn't lost his horns yet? Isn't that weird? Right, you can see the wear. They're coming down across the creek. This is deer trails. They come up right there on the other side. It's kind of hard to make it out on camera. But the trail goes up right there. And I also believe this is where they come down for fresh water. And they're going right through right there too. That's a fresh rub. All the deer I've gotten on camera so far have lost their horns. Look at that. I grab it. That's strange. How he still has horns. Looks like they're going up right there. Okay. Oh, I was fixing to grab this and break it. Glad I didn't. It's got thorns on it. And I did not bring my pruners like I normally do. It feels so bad in here. There's a buck rub right here on that little one right down there too. There's another one back there. You see how thick this is? This is what your deer prefer. They love to get in areas like this because they feel protected. They're not out in the wide open. They're not just, sitting targets. White-tailed deer are incredibly smart. Trying to get some of this stuff down. Because I'm pretty sure that camera's up here. Trying to make it a little easier on me to walk. There we go. There's another rub. This is the trail. It's an old rub right here. This little bush right there. Oh, I should have brought my pruners. I should have, would have, could have, but I didn't. make me a easier access. I don't want to get bugs all over me. I thought the camera was right up in here. Maybe I didn't put one here. I don't know if you guys see the camera. I thought I had put one over here. I can't be for certain. That's the bad part. I don't know for sure that I put one there. Maybe I didn't. Doggone it. Ow. Oh, that one got thorns on it. Got me in the special spot. You ain't supposed to get thorns. I do not see a camera. So maybe I didn't put one here. Which that stinks. I want that thorn. It seems like I did put one because I remember seeing these two trees crossed right here. I'm almost positive I put a camera right here. Somewhere. Well, darn. I did, and it got tore off the tree. I don't know. That's a bummer. There's a baby magnolia tree. We'll be digging a lot of them up to transplant them up near the house. Got a really strong feeling that I did put a camera up over here. Got a sneaky suspicion. If I did, I sure can't find it. I'll be up about 5 foot off the ground if I did put one here. And I remember setting one up. Right across the creek from right here where we're at. That's where right on the other side of the creek is where the bear pulled my Woe Sports camera down. I was right there. I'm going to try to look at every tree Because I'm not 100% positive, but I'm fairly certain that I put a camera in here. Because there were so many tracks coming up over there, deer tracks. I was wanting to see if I could possibly get the deer on camera and see what, what we got, what kind of deer we got coming through. No, I don't think I went any further than this. It's not going to be up here. If I put one over here, I'm almost 100% positive that I did put one here. This is a bummer. Did I burn it? Well, shoot. Well, guys, how about got some sunlight right here, and it looks like it's gonna rain. Hope not. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna set the camera up right in here. This is really pretty. I don't know that you'll see anything in the background if anything does come through. But that trail comes through right over there, and it goes right behind this stuff. Right through there. This would be a good spot to set. Let's walk over here and look first. See if there's a better spot to set. Something's been all up in here. I'm using the wireless microphone, so you're not going to be able to hear background sounds very well at all. Just looking for a better area to set down. Should have brought my little hand pruners with me. Some more briars. I don't want to be on the ground because that's where your ticks are at. Well, you know what? I don't have to sit down because I don't have my my notebook with the printouts that Brother Don sends us. I've got this one on my phone. Just it'd be nice to sit down where I can sit still. And I am going to have to sit in the shade wherever I sit so that I can see the screen. I don't think this one here is going to hold me. See how bad it drops. If I can drop me on my rear end. No, this will be all right. Yeah, that's all right. That'll work. All right, give me just a minute. I'm going to set the camera up. Let's see. I'm trying to get set up where you guys can see because we do have activity on this property. We do have activity right here where I'm at. I haven't heard anything this morning, but that does not mean there's nothing here, I assure you. And I want to set the camera up where you guys can see in the background, you know, off of the distance in these little holes. It's hard to see through a lot of this. We got a pretty good opening right here. I don't know if I want to put my back toward that. Look at all the trees down right here. I hope that's the wind. That sounds like something moving. It's a pretty good view back through there. Looking to see if there's somewhere I can sit on the ground. I gotta put the camera in the shade so the sun doesn't shine on the lens of the camera and mess it up. Put a bad glare on it. We don't want that. Okay. There's really no logs right here. Let's go back over here to the trail. I know what I'm gonna do. I think I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, see if I can get around right here. I'm gonna have to change the battery in the camera before we get started. I think I may go over by the creek. it's too short. Go down in the creek. You guys can maybe be able to see down into it. Who knows, maybe we'll get a deer decide to come through and want to cross the creek. That'd be pretty. I wish I remember where I put that camera. What happened, I marked them in my phone on my hunting app. I marked the location where it was. And when I got the new phone, when my app transferred over and it updated, it has my locations in it. Like our property, our home, the pig lease, it has all those locations in it. What it did not save is my waypoints. Well, that trail's heavily used right there. I wonder if I can get down right there. Oh, wow, that's got a thorn. That's a grapevine. Dead one. Ooh, yeah, they're using this trail for sure. This ledge right here. Ooh. Oh, this is pretty. See if I can get this broke out of the way. Here we go. So pretty. Wish we could get up right here. See I don't know if you guys can see the water come out. There's springs. They start way up there and they come down. There's another one right there. And the water runs out and it's running down into the creek right here. These little springs are all over this property. Ooh, sand sinking. Boy, this water's cold. My boots are not leaking, but it's just temperature change was instant. I don't know if you guys can see, there's another little spring. Let me extend my camera stick out a little bit. They're little spring heads. It's bubbling out right on the other side of this little tree thing. It's bubbling out. I can hear the bubbling. I heard that running. That's how I spotted it. Okay. All right, you guys, let me change the battery in the camera and I'll get this set up and we're going to share these articles, then we're going to get out of here. I think I might be able to sit over here somewhere. There's a deer track right there on the bank. That's where the other springs are. There's a little washout and it's full of them. And they pour in right over here. Okay, stand by just a second. All right, there's a snake right there. I'm not going to go over that. Looks like a banded water snake. I was going to go over there and sit down, but I ain't going to sit down. The snakes are out right now. All right, guys, I'm going to go over this with you. These are missing persons stories. And no, I'm not copying David Pilates. I'm not doing that. I'm just sharing stories. It's what I enjoy doing. Boy, this little spring right here is flowing hard. A lot of water coming into the creek right there. You guys, if you can, keep an eye out behind me. I'm going to scoot it up just a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to go right here and get a little closer. Because I do have an overwhelming, that feeling, eyeballs on me feeling I've definitely got right now. Okay. All right, I'm going to go right here. There's something over there, probably a bear or a pig. Well, them springs are really flowing. All right, I'm sorry I get sidetracked. All right. This story here is about Teresa Ann Bier, B-I-E-R, Teresa Ann Bier. She disappeared on June 1st of 1987 in the Bass Lake area, Sierra Nevada mountains in California. On June 1st, 16-year-old Teresa Ann Bier and Russell Welch, also known as Skip, 43, reportedly became separated in the Sierra Nevada mountains after they had gone to look for Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Welch was subsequently charged with abducting Teresa, but the charge was later dismissed. Welch went camping with Teresa near Shut-Eye Peak, about 25 miles northeast of Bass Lake in California, and was questioned by deputies when he returned without her. She was last seen at around 7:20 p.m. Welch's explanation was that Bigfoot had abducted her, but foul play was suspected. Searches throughout that region produced no sign of Bier. She has never been seen again, nor has any evidence turned up. Was this a simple case of kidnapping and murder by a man high on meth, or was it, as Skip claimed, a Bigfoot abduction in the Sierra? Did Teresa just run off into the woods to escape and became lost? Skip was charged with Teresa's abduction, but the case against him was dismissed due to lack of evidence in October of 1987. He was also offered a deal for an extremely light sentence if he were to confess and show the police where her body was, but he refused, sticking to his Bigfoot story. Now, who was Teresa Bier? Teresa's parents, Shirley and David Bier, did not provide a safe and loving home for Teresa and her siblings in Fresno, California. Shirley was particularly abusive towards her children. When Teresa was about 3 years old, she was severely injured and ended up in the hospital. Shirley wrapped Teresa's leg around the crib slats and twisted until it broke. She also beat Teresa, breaking several ribs. At this point, social services stepped in and took Teresa and her sisters away. This was also when Teresa's parents split up. Teresa was placed in foster care, and Sylvia Pierce, a friend from church, took in Teresa and her sister Vicky. A few years after Teresa had been placed in care, her father David decided that he wanted custody as he had divorced Shirley and remarried to Margie Richmond. Margie had previously been married to Shirley's half-brother, John Richmond, and they had 2 daughters who lived with her and David. The father was granted custody and they moved to Southern California to work as janitors, and where Marjorie was reportedly abusive towards her daughters and Teresa. Allegedly, Margie would lock her refrigerator and just sit there and eat her lunch and not feed her kids anything. Teresa would eventually return to Fresno to her great-grandmother's house. Soon after, Teresa's uncle John, Blind Johnny, Richmond, was granted custody, a 42-year-old man who claimed to have lost his eyesight while playing Russian roulette, although some people believed he could still see a little. His daughters lived with his ex-wife Margie and David, but he also had 2 sons with a prostitute. Blind Johnny also had a 17-year-old girlfriend, Tamara Newman, who lived with him. John would often make Teresa miss school in order to babysit his sons, and it was claimed that he and his friends often sexually abused her. At 16 years old, Teresa was described as a slow learner and immature at school. She was 5'5" in height and 110 pounds. Teresa's upper front teeth protruded, and she had a surgical scar on her lower right leg due to a childhood fracture. Now the trip to the Sierra Nevada with Russell Shelton Welch. In early June 1987, Teresa and her friends Peggy and Janice In early June of 1987, Teresa told her friends Peggy and Janice that she was going to the mountains with a man she had recently met, and told them she was going to miss school for the trip. This man's name was 43-year-old Russell Shelton Welch, or Skip, a house painter who was obsessed with Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, and he had claimed to have seen it many times. Skip lived mostly off of disability checks. He was addicted to meth, and his wife Shannon had died of a drug overdose. On the mornings of June 1st, 1987, Skip arrived at Blind Johnny's house as they knew each other, and he had noticed that Teresa was getting ready for school and offered to drive her. This was a deception, as Teresa had already planned to spend the day in the mountains with Skip. Later that morning, Blind Johnny received a call from Central High School wanting to know why Teresa hadn't arrived at school that day. He told them Teresa was homesick, and he spent the day searching for her, speaking to various of their acquaintances. Despite none of them knowing where she was, many of them did warn him that Skip was not a trustworthy man. That evening at around 9:30 p.m., Blind Johnny reported Teresa missing to the Fresno police. Before they headed to the mountains, Skip and Teresa made a stop at his daughter Chandra Welch's house. Skip was having trouble with his beat-up '76 Chevy Monte Carlo. Skip and Teresa had made it to the Sierra Nevada mountain range, near the Shut-Eye Peak area. The Fresno police spoke to Skip's friends and family, one of them being 17-year-old Michelle Ryan. She had been enticed to the mountains by Skip during the previous summer. Skip's daughter, Chandra, had advised against her going. She knew that her father had a habit of taking young girls to the mountains and using drugs to lure them into having sex. Michelle had a traumatic trip, but made it back home safely, as fortunately she had gone with 2 male friends, although she believed she had been drugged. Police also spoke to Skip's daughter and son. Chandra had been visited by her father and Teresa on the day of her disappearance. Terry had also been visited by Skip and a young girl, presumably Teresa, on the same day, but Skip and Teresa could not be located. On June 5th of 1987, a police officer spotted Skip's brown '76 Chevy Monte Carlo by a trailer park near North Fork. Excuse me. I lost my spot. On June 5th of '87, a police officer spotted Skip's brown '76 Chevy Monte Carlo by a trailer park near North Fork, a town in the foothills of the mountain. It would later be explained that Skip had come down to the mountain to visit a friend, Dorothy Davis. He was very upset and told her about a young girl that had been taken by a satanic group and being kept in the Sierra. Davis said he was high and assumed he was delusional. A few days after Teresa was reported missing, Blind Johnny received a threatening phone call from a young female. She told him that Skip was packing a pistol and wanted her to tell him, if you continue to make trouble for him, you will have more trouble from him. Even your kids can get hurt. And tell the police that Skip had taken Teresa to school, dropped her off, and some unknown blonde girl had picked Teresa up. 5 days later, authorities were able to find Skip at his mother's house in Sunnyside, Fresno. He was arrested for a previous drunk driving violation. During questioning, Skip spoke very seriously about Bigfoot and claimed that there was a very large number of them living in the mountains in underground caves and that he had communicated with them several times. When questioned about Teresa, his story changed several times and he insisted on calling her by the nickname that he gave her, Sam. At first, he claimed to have dropped her off at school, but soon admitted that the two did in fact go to the mountains to seek out Bigfoot. Then Skip claimed that Sam had run off into the woods with another young woman and then later claimed she had left with some other campers. In yet another version, he said that Sam had gotten overexcited after they had seen a Bigfoot a couple of times that day, leading to her running off to find the creature again, and he was unable to find her. Skip said that Teresa would not be returning because she'd be happier with the Bigfoot community in the mountains rather than her own home. At one point, during the police interviews, Skip, without the officer asking anything, said that if they happened to find Teresa, there would be no sign of sexual abuse. He claimed that although Teresa had been willing to have a sexual relationship with him, he would have never done that with a young girl as that was not his nature. Skip agreed to show authorities where the campsite that he and Teresa allegedly stayed at. He led them to a small grove of trees in the meadow's edge along Browns Creek. At the inner area of this grove, there was a smoldering fire among the heavy layer of pine needles that appeared to be somewhat damp. This smoldering burnt area was approximately 3.5 feet by 8 feet long. There were these blankets that were put up, and there were a curtain. They were in a curtain formation. There was a camera, a purse, an off-white bra, and a t-shirt, pictures of the countryside, along with a picture of Welch playing guitar as he was sitting by what appeared to be the blanket that was in the grove area. There were also pictures of Teresa. The campsite where all of this was found turned out to be staged by Skip. From the topography and the photos, the local deputies were able to guess that the actual camp was 20 miles away, possibly in Ghost Canyon. Even though he allegedly lied about the campsite, both the meadow and the canyon were searched. A helicopter that was searching for any clue or sign of Teresa's whereabouts spotted something on the hillside above the Browns Creek camp. It turned out to be a blue shirt that belonged to Skip, and it had meth in the pocket. Searches by bloodhounds were done in the vicinity of the camp, and the dogs detected Teresa's scent at one point, but no other clues were found. Skip was charged with child endangerment and child stealing. He was arraigned and released on his own recognizance by Judge Gallagher. However, this judge did not realize that Judge Austin had increased Skip's bail to $30,000 after reviewing the case. 2 days later, Skip was rearrested. 3 days before Skip's trial, authorities dropped the child stealing charge. They had offered to recommend a 1-year sentence if Skip signed a waiver allowing them to go forward with murder charges if Teresa's body were located, but Skip refused. The prosecution decided to drop the case to avoid double jeopardy if they wanted to charge him with murder. To avoid double jeopardy if they wanted to charge him with murder later. Teresa and Bier has never been found. So what happened to Teresa? Most people believe that Skip was guilty of killing Teresa and disposing of her body. However, there is a theory put forward by Skip's family that the speed freak killers abducted and killed her. Despite Chandra admitting her father was a predator at the time of Teresa's disappearance, she defended him after his arrest, claiming that her father's only crime was practicing poor judgment by taking a young girl to the Sierra. Blind Johnny died of cancer around 2008, and Skip died in 1998 at the age of 54 due to severe coronary artery disease. Wow. That was bizarre. I don't know what to think of that one. You guys, I don't believe that the big guys took her. There's just if that were the case and he knew that, then he would absolutely have stuck with what he saw. You don't forget seeing these beings. You don't forget encountering them. It's a lifelong memory that you can't get rid of. It's a horrible memory. And to have something like that bad happen, why would he spit out so many different stories? So that's just my opinion. You guys, take from it what you will, and whatever thoughts you have about it. We're all entitled to our own opinions, but it is what it is. And guys, I'm sorry about the, I don't proofread anything. I just don't. Now, emails I do, because a lot of the emails that I've gotten have been just downright perverted on Bigfoot having a relation with people, and just a lot of nonsense. And I haven't gotten any in a long time. I believe everybody's sending their stories to Steve Isdall now, which is fantastic. He does an amazing job getting the articles out there, and he's touching far more people. And to bring awareness of the existence of these creatures, the more word gets out, the more it gets spread, the higher the possibility of someone being saved from something possibly happening. That scared me. I wasn't ready for that. I don't know if the mic picked that up. The mic's in my shirt right here. That sounded like that Oriental type language, real fast gibberish. I'm gonna try one more. That wasn't close. It sounded like it was quite a ways off. I got a weird feeling just now, really, really weird feeling. All right, we're gonna try one more, then I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna go after that other camera today, because it's not far from me, 300 yards possibly, but it's that direction, back behind me now, and it's very close to Jeff's corner, and that sound came from that direction. I'm not gonna go over there today. All right, this one is, where are we at? Right there. All right. The strange disappearance of Paul Miller. He disappeared on July 13th of 2018 in Joshua Tree National Park, which is in California, and his body was found November of 2019. In July of 2018, Paul Miller, 51, and his wife Stephanie from Ontario in Canada were on vacation in California and Nevada, and were planning to head to Las Vegas to celebrate their 26th wedding anniversary. A typical vacation for them was camping in the backwoods, hiking and kayaking, and they had hiked across Canada, North America, and Mexico. Both Paul and Stephanie were avid hikers who were in great shape and who loved exploring the outdoors. On July 13th of 2018, Paul decided he wanted to take one more short hike and headed for the 49 Palms Oasis Trail in Joshua Tree National Park. That was a knock, you guys. That was close. I feel like a sitting duck right now. So thick that way I can't see anything. Okay, stand by just a second. I'm gonna move the camera over here and I'm gonna aim it up, because that was loud. That was right there. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see anything, but I'm not gonna stop recording, so it is probably going to be a little loud. Maybe. Put the camera right here. just a second. Let me get the angle right. That was right up in there somewhere. All right, I'm just gonna stand right here where I was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn that up just a little bit. Okay. I can see the screen, so I'm kind of using it as a mirror, a rear view mirror. All right, sorry folks. I do get scared when I'm out here. That knock was right back there. It was close. It was only one, but it was loud. I don't know. The mic should have caught that. It was really loud. All right, I'm so sorry. Let me start over that, just that paragraph. On July 13th, 2018, Paul decided he wanted to take one more short hike and headed for the 49 Palms Oasis Trail in Joshua Tree National Park. He promised Stephanie would be back later that morning. He was never seen again. At the end of 2019, Paul's remains were discovered in Joshua Tree in an area well off trail following analysis of drone footage. What happened to Paul Miller on a solo hike? Who was Paul Miller? Paul Miller had a degree in environmental sciences and was working for a small company making water filtration systems to bring water to different communities. He was described as being fun to be around with lots of friends, outgoing but caring and compassionate by friends. The Miller's kids had left home and were just about to move into the empty nest stage. Stephanie described their relationship as being best friends, and they were looking forward to the next stage of their lives. They were a solid couple and loved spending time together. Friends described Stephanie and Paul as having a great marriage, and they had just finished renovating a house they had bought 4 years before. Stephanie had a permanent job teaching. Stephanie had a permanent teaching job confirmed in September of 2018, and Paul had a raise at work. With the children leaving home and their work news, this was an ideal trip to have their first vacation just as a couple to celebrate their 26th wedding anniversary. Paul was always on the go and certainly not a couch potato, and loved getting out in nature, especially with his camera. He was in great shape and never had any medical conditions, with no family history of health problems. The trip to 29 Palms and a hike to Joshua Tree National Park. So let's see, a shadow. All right, guys, I'm going to try to do it. If I can't finish it here, we'll go back to the truck. The Millers were getting ready to leave their hotel room in Motel 6 in 29 Palms on July 13th, 2018. But Paul wanted to take one more short hike in the hope of taking some pictures of some bighorn sheep. July 13th was the last day of their trip. He left the hotel alone at around 9 a.m. and drove to the 49 Palms Oasis Trail in Joshua Tree National Park. Paul promised Stephanie to be back later that morning. Stephanie was going to accompany her husband on the morning hike, but with time constraints pressuring them on the morning of their last day, she decided to stay at the hotel and pack up their belongings. Checkout at the hotel was 11 a.m. and actually 12 noon. They had gone to have a leisurely breakfast at Denny's that morning. Stephanie was also a slower hiker than Paul, and they had both hiked in Joshua on July 12th, and so reluctantly he decided to go on the solo hike. The motel was very close to the trail, and Paul was sure he could do the hike and return within a couple of hours, as they had to be in Vegas to catch the flight back to Ontario. Paul was wearing dark shorts, dark gray, almost black, high-tech, altitude VIWP hiking boots a black hat, and carrying sunglasses, a Camelback hydration pack, and a Nikon D5300 camera. The 49 Palms Oasis Trail at Joshua National Park. Joshua Tree National Park is an American national park in southeastern California, east of Los Angeles and San Bernardino, near Palm Springs. It's covering a total of 790,636 acres. It is named for the Joshua trees, the Yucca brevifolia, native to the Mojave Desert. Originally declared a national monument in 1936, Joshua Tree was redesignated as a national park in '94 when the U.S. Congress passed the California Desert Protection Act. According to the NPS, I messed myself up, sorry guys, okay. According to the NPS, the 49 Palms Oasis Trail offers a 3-mile round-trip hike to a fan palm oasis. It requires 2 to 3 hours and is rated moderately strenuous, ascending about 300 feet each way. This well-maintained trail climbs to a ridge where large numbers of barrel cacti dot the landscape. After winding around the ridge top, the trail descends steeply to the oasis located in a rocky canyon. Towering palms create a canopy over clear pools of water. Large boulders provide a place to rest and enjoy the sights and sounds of this small ecosystem. George Land from the NPS said, "It's not a real difficult trail. You go in and come out the same way. However, it is a little bit of a rigorous trail." That's back behind me. Let me turn the camera a little bit. I'm sorry I'm messing this one up. I am hearing all kind of stuff back there. And I don't know that the microphone's going to be picking it up. I hope it does. I'm going to turn this, the microphone's right here on my right side. So I'm going to turn a little bit. Maybe it'll catch what I'm hearing. Oh, jeez. I lost my spot. Okay, here we go. That was a stick just hit over there. I seen it. I seen it when it was coming down. It added an arch like this. I seen it coming down. It wasn't a big one. It was a stick. It came from over there. I'm gonna try to finish this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. You guys, I'm getting really nervous. Having a hard time reading. The disappearance of Paul Miller and search begins. When Paul hadn't returned by 11 a.m., his wife grew concerned, but decided to give him another hour and didn't want to worry anyone unnecessarily. At noon, when Stephanie had still not heard from Paul, she called National Park officials at Joshua, and rangers began a search immediately by walking the trail. By 2 p.m., a full search and rescue operation had begun. At first, the park wasn't too concerned, as Paul was only 1.5 hours late, and missing visitors often turned up after a couple of hours. Paul's rental car was quickly found at the 49 Palms Oasis Trailhead parking lot. His cell phone was left behind at the hotel, but apparently this was not unusual for him. At 4 p.m., the washes that led off the 49 Palms Oasis Trail, the rocky areas and side canyons began to be searched and continued until 10 p.m. that first day. For 5 days, the search for Paul continued in the park, involving 600 people, putting in 6,000 hours in total. That was 90 people at the peak. Up to 20 dog teams, an ATV search team, and a helicopter. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department deputies, detectives, search and rescue and emergency services, California Rescue Dog Association, Nevada Search and Rescue, and the National Park Service, with personnel from the Investigative Services Branch, Mojave National Preserve, Death Valley National Park, Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area, and Joshua Tree National Park all participated in the search. Due to steep ravines and cliffs,
Technical specialists with high-angle rescue skills were also deployed, but no signs of Paul was located, no other evidence other than his car that he was in the park, such as his camera, turned up. Park Superintendent David Smith said, "We have a witness who saw Miller at the trailhead that morning, but that's all." Another visitor from England at the park reported seeing Paul at around 9 a.m., walking quickly and with purpose. About halfway down the trail, he was resting by a rock that offered some shade. The witness reported seeing one other vehicle with 2 women and 2 men in their 20s who went in after Paul down the trail, but authorities have been unable to locate it. There was no camera at the parking lot at the park at that time of the disappearance. Despite a large number of canine teams, the dogs were unable to pick up a scent. In high temperatures in the park at that time of the year, it can be hard to detect a scent. One of the dogs even had the pads of its feet burnt. Because of the high heat, infrared flare detection using helicopters was also not possible, as the rocks are warmer than a human body. Guys, I'll tell you something on the FLIR. I've used many of them. The forward-looking infrared. If you're in a hot environment, your screen, everything shows hot. But human body temperature at 98 degrees, 98.5, even 102 if they got a fever, and they're in an environment, if it's 100 degrees outside, the ground can be 120 or 130 from the radiation of the sun, and you can absolutely see a human body in a high heat environment. It stands out. It shows as being cooler than the surrounding areas, and you can adjust the color and your temperature colors on the FLIRs to where if it's 5 degrees cooler, it'll show up a different color. And yes, a body can absolutely be seen with them. That was another stick. I heard that coming through the treetops. All right, you guys, we're gonna finish this at the truck. That one, I heard it hitting back here, and it sailed across this right here. It's not far from us. That was not wind. That came, I heard it coming from the right through the trees, and it ended right there. I seen where it hit the ground. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the truck. We're not far. And I will definitely finish this, but we're gonna do it at the truck. I apologize. You guys have had a couple of people had commented. I guess they don't understand when someone's scared of something, how fear acts on the human body. Everybody acts differently with fear. I'll face wild pigs, I'll face just about anything. But when it comes to these creatures, these Sasquatch, yes, I am terribly afraid of them. There's no change in that. And to those that don't understand, I hope you never encounter one. But if you do, you'll get it. You'll definitely get it after your encounter. You'll understand it without a doubt. That stick landed right back over there. I'm gonna turn this camera around. I'm sorry. I hate it when I have to leave like that, and I apologize. I'm just using the camera as a mirror. I'm watching the screen on it. It's not out of the ordinary to get sticks or acorns or little rocks thrown at you over here. It's happened dozens of times. I got hit earlier this year, like 3 or 4 times. I got hit in the back. soon as I get to the truck, we'll redo this. We're right here. We're not far from it. All right, and we're right here, we're close. I'm gonna stop recording. I'm gonna put the camera on the little tripod. All right, you guys, the creek is right here, right there. That's going up the hill. We were just back here, down the creek. I don't know, 150 yards. So I decided to get right here where I can see. You guys will be able to see, watch that hill up there. Whatever was throwing the sticks was definitely on that side of the creek. It was back that direction. And again, I'm sorry for the mess up. Okay, I'm gonna try to find the spot where we was at, and then we're gonna continue this, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Okay. I'm looking for my spot. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the flare detection. That's where we was at. It feels bad here right now, really, really bad. All right, because of the high heat, infrared flare detection using helicopters was also not possible as the rocks were warmer than a human body. The search was scaled back after 5 days of intensive search on July 18th. The probability of Paul's survival in the extreme heat was low, and park authorities decided to scale back the official search. Park Superintendent Smith said as of mid-August 2018, there were no new clues as to what happened to Paul Miller, stating, "I assure them the Park Service will not forget about Mr. Miller. We are doing all that we can. The FBI is called in only if there is a murder or homicide, and at this point, there is no indication that this is the case. Nothing to indicate this was a planned disappearance." Stephanie said, "Maybe he finished the trail and came out and something happened. We really don't know. But if they can't find him in the park, then what's to say he's not out of the park?" Remains found. In late December of 2019, the NPS and San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department reported they were investigating the discovery of human remains found in a remote and rocky portion of Joshua Tree National Park. Park authorities were alerted and possible evidence of human remains after another agency was analyzing photographs of the area taken by drone in November. Park rangers hiked to the 49... That was a grunt. I'm just going to get a little closer to the camera, you guys. Park rangers hiked to the 49 Palms Oasis area and found the remains and personal belongings away from any trails. No identification was found with the remains, which appeared to have been in the area for some time. They reported no initial signs of foul play were found. The remains were confirmed as Paul Miller. In mid-January of 2020, official identification of the remains found at the end of 2019 was made and confirmed to be that of Paul Miller. What happened to Paul Miller? Another puzzling and sad U.S. National Park solo hike death, showing the dangers of hiking alone, even on apparently safe and well-marked trails. Paul was an avid outdoorsman and experienced hiker. It was hot out there in Joshua in July of 2018. but he was with plenty of water on a well-established trail hiking in the cooler part of the day. He appeared to be well prepared, but in a rush to get back to Stephanie and to leave the area as it was the end of their vacation. Theories on Paul's death. Paul's remains and personal belongings were found away from any trails, so it appears he got lost and disoriented in the heat and was succumbing to hypothermia. It gets very hot in Joshua in July, and perhaps he sought shade by wandering off trail. He was wearing hiking boots and the trail was well marked. Maybe he walked off trail to relieve himself, stumbled, and fell, hitting his head against a rock. There are plenty of steep ridges in Joshua, and Paul may have tried to take a picture of the wildlife and fallen off the cliff edge. Was it a medical emergency? Did he meet someone on the trail that caused him to run for safety? Trail cameras are planned to be installed by the Joshua Tree Park authorities, as well as one at the parking lot at the trailhead. And that's the end of that story. Guys, I am going to pack it up and get out of here. I am hearing all kinds of stuff, and it's coming from, I don't know if you can see me. I can't see the screen from here. It is coming from back there, the other side of the creek, but it sounds to be very close to the creek. So I'm going to get the camera. I'm going home. I don't like the activity at all. I'm not a Bigfoot researcher. I could care less what these things do as long as they leave me and my family alone and leave me out of whatever their ultimate agenda is. Y'all have a good afternoon. I love each and every one of you. God bless you. We'll definitely be seeing you soon. We're moving forward with getting a house put out here. I'll fill all of you in with the details of what's going on that end of our list of things that we're trying to address right now. We got a lot happening. It's a busy time for us. The van, something's wrong with the front end or tire or something. It's got issues, so now we're on the Suburban. My tires are cracked. My back tire's cracked on my motorbike, and so I'm scared to drive it. We just got a lot happening, and I can't afford to put the van in the shop. Can't afford to get a tire for the motorbike, so we're kind of at a standstill. I'm having to use the Suburban for everything. But it's running, and we do have good tires on it. Well, guys, I'll see you soon. I love you. Take care of yourself. Be kind and be safe, and whatever you do, wherever you go, carry the blessings and glory of God with you. We're in a rough time. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.